Alrighty, hey everybody. Another edition of 11 Live coming to you live on Tuesday night. I'm Ian Gilmore. I realized I haven't been saying my name, so some of you might not know who I am. Apologies. I'm sorry about that. I'm Ian. I work for the club, and we've started this kind of tradition on Tuesday nights of doing some 11 Lives with players, with coaches, with people from all around the club. And tonight we have Tim Trilk on, one of our returning players for the 2023 season. And so once he gets on here, we will talk to Tim, and and Caden Crawford's in here too. So we got a goalkeeper union in the house tonight. Let's see if we can get Tim here. One thing for people to put on their radar. So this weekend coming up, if you haven't seen it on our socials yet, men's tryouts this week. To join Indy 11 in 2023. All right, let's see if we can get Tim on here. All right. Here we go. Tim!
How we doing, Ian?
Doing well, man. How are you?
Doing well.
Good to see you. It's been a little while. You enjoying your time off?
I am. It's been good. It feels like it's been forever, but it's flown by.
Yeah. No, I feel that for sure. It was like October, we ended the season, and now it's already, we're 2 weeks away from preseason. And I'm like, where has the time gone? The holidays flew by, everything flew by.
Exactly.
You've been a busy guy though. So are you back in Indy now, or are you still down at Tennessee?
Yeah, I'm still down in Chattanooga. I'm making the trek back up to Indy next Monday.
Okay, nice. Are you staying in the same place? You moving back in the same place, new place? What's the plan?
Same complex, just a different apartment.
Okay, gotcha. Very nice. Well, I mean, like I said, you've been busy this off season, and I know you want to start with the most important stuff, obviously. So tell me about I'm kidding, not the clothing line. Tell me about the new relationship status.
Yeah, so I got engaged over the off season. It's something that a lot of the guys knew I was planning it. Been talking about it. It was actually one of the weekends we had off. I told a bunch of the guys I was going to ask my now fiance, I was going to ask her father for his blessing. And when I came back, a bunch of them were super excited for that and everything. But yeah, very excited. January 2024, we're going to tie the knot.
Okay, so about a year out from now.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have to do a lot of the planning? Are you leaving it to her? What's that situation like?
Thankfully, she's planned dozens of weddings. Okay. So she told me pick my groomsmen and what I'm going to wear and the menu. And that's all I've got to do.
Okay, you get the easy jobs then. That's nice.
Yeah.
Did she do like videography and stuff, or is she just like a big planner of them?
Just a big planner. She did events at the Westin Hotel down here for a while. Did weddings on the side and stuff. So she's one of those people. She's always needs to be busy. Always wants to be doing something, and so she did a bunch of weddings on the side, doing like day of coordination and stuff like that.
Okay, nice. For those of you that haven't seen it, go check out Tim's proposal. It's linked on his Instagram and on his fiance's as well. I imagine you had the whole vast setup, the rose petals on the floor and everything. How nervous were you in that moment?
Oh, I don't remember anything. I couldn't tell you if she even said yes, to be honest. But that's what everyone told me. That is, I was asking for advice. They were like, don't even try and plan out what you're going to say, because when the moment comes, it's going to feel like it's forever and you're going to completely black out. So, but everything went smooth. She was surprised, and yeah, it was an amazing thing.
That's sweet. Well, that's a good thing you have the video then, because then you can watch back and see what you said. If you remember it. So let's talk about last season with Indy 11. Your first season with Indy in the USL Championship after coming from League One. It was a year for you after you went to the playoffs with Chattanooga, and kind of like a big growth year for you. When you look back on all of it, obviously it was crazy, especially on the goalkeeper side of things for the team. When you look back, I guess what kind of comes to mind? What are your biggest takeaways from 2022?
Just a lot of learning lessons. I mean, it was something that you hope to never have to go through a skid like that, as we did in the middle of the season there. I think it was 14 games. We went without 3 points. And so it's something that you just kind of learn. And for me, it was the first year that I had that was a full season. My first 2 years as a pro were affected by COVID. So just a 10-month season, and I remember halfway through being like, wow, my body actually hurts for the first time, and having to manage that a little bit. So overall, I think it was just a lot of learning experiences and stuff that I hope to build on for this coming year.
Yeah, for sure. When you look back on your time in Chattanooga, what kind of comes to mind?
I mean, just we had such a core group of guys here, and the Red Wolves were such um, a club that was just starting out. I think I was there for year 2 and year 3. And so even being back here in the off season and just seeing how much that club has kind of risen and established itself is something that's really cool to look back on.
We got a question in the chat. Just where are you from, Tim? Give everyone the hometown.
Rockford, Illinois, born and raised.
Very nice. So I'm curious, how'd you make your way to Tennessee? Where did that come in?
It was the Red Wolves were one of the first teams to offer me a contract straight out of college. I graduated December of 2019. First pro deal, took it, and came down here just ready. Obviously, COVID affected that, but we were one of the teams that they had everyone stay in market. And that was the time that I actually met my fiance, Kate. So now this has kind of been our home base ever since.
Worked out. That's awesome. Going back to this past season, you're a guy that was coming up from USL League One. There was keepers that were on loan from MLS clubs here, right? So from the outside, at least, it might not have looked like you were the number one. With that in mind, how did you kind of go into the season in terms of your mindset?
So Mark was very upfront, knowing with me, knowing that we had Elliot Panico coming in on loan, and that was someone that I'd heard of Elliot before, was very versed in the situation, and I was able to take those first couple months with Elliot, build a relationship with him, and just learn a lot from him. We're not too far off in age, so it was good to pick his brain. And then he went back, and then Brian Meredith came down, and it was kind of going to go back and forth. Unfortunately, he got injured, but he was a veteran, so it was good to just learn from both of them and kind of develop relationships with them. I've stayed in touch with both of them actually since their time in Indy, so just good to learn from them.
Obviously, this is kind of like a thing like in the NFL with like quarterback rooms too, where obviously you're competing for the number one spot, but you're on the same team at the same time, right? So like, I guess kind of those of us who haven't played in the professional ranks, kind of let us in on what conversations might be like in the goalkeeper room, or what those relationships. How do you kind of build those?
I mean, it's something that I don't know if you can put a word on what to call it, but it's, you're either a keeper or you're not. And that's why when we train, we go off, we do our thing, and everyone is like, wow, like, what are those weirdos doing over there? And so it's just something that it's kind of an unspoken agreement, like you're there to push each other. And there's a respect that even if you're the number one and they're saying, hey, we're going to give, the number two a couple run of games, you have the respect for that number two, as then being his teammate to say, I want you to be ready. And you always want to see your teammates succeed. You never want to see someone fail. So that's the biggest thing, is it's just a mutual respect all around. And even the opposing side, you stare at someone for 90 minutes across the field, and then you dap them up and you have a good conversation with them after. It's just that goalkeeper union is something that, the field players, they'll never understand it.
Yeah. I remember when we played in the Hamtramck against DCFC, and you and Nate Steinwasser came together at the end of the game. You had that crazy save against Maxey, I think, in the 70th minute. He had a couple in there too, and you guys' conversation was just like that. It was like, hey, man, hell of a save. And you're like, yeah, you too. Yeah. And it's cool to see those interactions up front and close. First season working with Mark Lowry, right? And his whole coaching staff, and Andy Swift as well. So what were those coaches like from an inside perspective, inside the locker room for you?
They're intense. I mean, they made their feelings known. They set expectations, and it was something that when things were good, there was a great vibe around when, we're winning and stuff. But then they were also the type that when we were in that skid, they let us all know that, it's not acceptable to be dropping points the way we were. And they really set a standard that we try and follow day in and day out.
For sure. With that in mind, I guess, having had a year under your belt here and being one of the guys that's coming back, what are your sort of expectations and goals for this coming year?
For the team, I mean, I think we've made a lot of statements with the signings that the staff have made. I think, people are no longer looking at Indy like a team that was meant to be at the bottom of the table, and we're starting to reclaim what the Indy faithful are used to seeing. We're going to be a club that, playoffs it's not a question, it's a priority. If there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's our goal, what we need to do. And we don't want to just be a good team. We want to be a dominant team, someone who, when people step onto the field at the mic, they're thinking, we're in for a war for the next 90 minutes, and no one wants to play us, and we want to play everyone. So that's kind of our goal, what we're looking at.
Yeah, the form at the end of last season, coupled with the names and the skill and talent that is coming in, I think you hit that right on the head. A couple of things for you, I guess. Going back into that goalie room, not only you're fighting for the number one spot with guys, but you have coaching experience, and you've got guys like Hayden Vostel and Caden Crawford there with you every single day. I guess what is it kind of like being around those younger guys there? 15 and 17? I guess, do you kind of like try to coach them up here and there a little bit, or what's it like being around those guys?
I think it's funny because if you ask Hayden and Caden, I think they'd both give you different answers on what I try and do. But I mean, we hold those academy kids to the same standard as the number 1, number 2, number 3, the guys that are on our an official deal. But I do try and mentor them, and they're fun. They're fun to have around, and they remind me of the days when I was that age, and just like, throwing your body around, nothing hurts. You don't have to do recovery after training, and they're there and they're asking questions, and that's what I love, is when those guys have questions and they want to learn. I'm jealous of them, honestly. I didn't have the opportunity when I was their age to be in an environment like that, so I love those guys. We had Sveti as well throughout the year, and so it's really cool to see them when they all go off to school, and keeping up with them and just seeing how they go and progress throughout their careers.
Yeah, and then so they train with you guys in the morning, then they go train with their academy team at night, and then they do it all the next day, and they're feeling fine. And coming from the guy that said he started feeling a little bit sore 5 months into the season. Going along with that, so you were an assistant coach at Tennessee Wesleyan. How'd you kind of end up being there?
So Tennessee Wesleyan's in a small town called Athens, Tennessee. It's about 45 minutes north of Chattanooga, and the head coach there is one of the directors in the Chattanooga Red Wolves Academy. So he just knew, he was like, hey, I know you've got free time. We'd love to pay you, hook you up with some gear. And so, yeah, it was just an easy thing to jump into. Luke Winter is the head coach out there, and he's a great guy. Someone I've also stayed in touch with since I've been in Indy. And, so it was just cool to then be at the college level, and, those guys look up to me being a pro. So it was fun to kind of share my insights with them as well.
Yeah, I mean, going back to your college roots too, 4 years Western Illinois, senior year, top 10 in the country in saves. What was your time like being Leatherneck? Yeah, did I get that right?
Leatherneck.
Yeah, what was that time like?
It was cool. I mean, Western's a school that, soccer's not their priority. Macomb, Illinois is, it's a smaller farm town. I love it to death. I'm a Leatherneck till I die. And I'll be forever grateful for my time there. And yeah, it was just something that we had an old school coach, Eric Johnson. He was, we were going to be the fittest team. Goalkeepers had to pass the same fitness test as everyone else. And you never got anything easy, but college soccer was so much fun. It's, something that it's different than the pro level. You're balancing classes, which isn't great, but just so many memories and so many guys I'm still close with from Western.
Yeah, for sure. It was always a good time. Let's talk about some of the other things you did in your off season, and sticking with soccer. You went back to your roots and ran a camp in Rockford. What was that kind of like, obviously it's really cool getting to give back once you get to a certain place. And so what was that like for you, getting to do that this summer?
It was unreal. It was something that, like, I had the thought for a while and started to put it into motion. And then I remember, like, the night before, just laying in bed thinking, like, holy cow, like, I've got all these kids showing up tomorrow. And it was just fun because, they think we're playing in Champions League, and kids were asking me, like, if I've met Ronaldo, and just, they're so young and full of life. And they were so excited every morning. They're showing up at 9 a.m. just bouncing off the walls. And it was very, very fun to interact with all of them, share my stories. We did a Q&A to end camp, and that was something that was very fun for me to answer some of their questions, help them, tell them what it's like the day of a pro. And so, yeah, it was just a great feeling to be back in the community and getting to see the future of Rockford soccer.
Yeah. Yeah, good on you. That's awesome. The other one, you're sporting it right now, the new clothing line. Tell me about that. How'd that come to fruition?
Yeah, so it's kind of like an endorsement deal with this company called Millions, and I actually got it like set up through the app that you guys give us all our photos and videos through and stuff. I got in contact with them, and it's really cool. Like, so they helped me create a logo, produce a couple pieces, and it's just something. It's a cool thing to look back and like, be like, wow, like I had my own clothing line, my own merchandise. It's something that you don't get to see all the time, and I've got a project I'm trying to put out. A new piece each month. I think the January one right now, it's got the checkerboard on it, like our home kits, and I personally, that's my favorite one that's out right now. So yeah, check it out. The link to that's in the my link tree in my bio. Yeah, that's a fun thing to kind of keep up with.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's awesome. Yeah. So like Tim said, if you want to check out his stuff, go to his Instagram, check out the link in his bio, and purchase it. The one with the checkerboard, I was like, hey, he's already getting the Indy 11 stuff incorporated into it. It was pretty cool. Let's talk about this next season. We talked about the names that have come in. How many of those guys have you played against? Have you, I don't know, come across in college or the USL ranks beforehand, or at all, any of them?
I remember playing against Jack Blake in San Diego. That was like kind of a whirlwind of a game I just got thrown into, so I don't remember anything off the top of my head, but I just remember each day seeing these new signings rolling in and being like, whoa, Mark's not playing any games. He's here to, put Indy back on top, and that's just kind of what I'm excited. These are all guys that are veterans. I think it's real cool with Cam Lindley coming in, being a Carmel boy. I think that's going to be a lot of fun having him around, so it's going to be a good season.
Yeah, I know he was on here earlier. I don't know if he's still on, but you're earning some brownie points. Well done. Let's get to some of the questions that people sent in for you. The first one, I'm going to tell you who they're from, but this one you're going to have to guess who it's from, okay? It's, what's your biggest pet peeve?
Biggest pet peeve. I got a lot of pet peeves. I'm going to pick on my fiance and say one of my biggest pet peeves with her, she leaves cabinet doors open. Just every cabinet door will be open. That's one of my biggest pet peeves.
That would get me too. Do you have a guess on who that one was from?
I do not.
Well, it was the person who your pet peeve is related to. So I think she might have known what she was doing.
Yeah, I'm waiting for her to come up, running upstairs and kick down that door behind me now.
She's busy commenting right now. The next one's from Robbie. He wants to know, are you good at trivia?
I'm pretty sick at trivia. I've got my niche. Sports is my category, and food and beverage. Those are my two categories. But trivia is a big thing. A lot of people don't know. The guys went to trivia every Thursday last year.
Were you part of the group that just like went weekly?
Went weekly, and we finally got a top 3 finish the last Thursday we were in Indy.
So you're up against some pretty stiff competition. Who were the people that were there every week as well?
Yeah, I mean it became fierce rivalries by the third week because you were seeing the same people, and it was fun.
Raul was telling me last year about one. It was name 4 of the 9 original MLS teams, and we have a group of guys who play in the USL Championship, and you guys couldn't do it.
We have guys that were drafted into the MLS and everything, and we didn't get it right.
Well, the funny thing is I tried to do it too, and I tripped up on the same thing because Chicago Fire wasn't in it until the year after, and it just in my brain I'm just like they're an original team.
Exactly.
And Jared Timmer just said his back still hurts, so I'm assuming at least he thought he was carrying you guys.
Timmer was also the one who would always get there first to hold our seats. That was a very very important move on his part.
Nice. Well done, Jared. This one is from Rachel Hoots. She asked, what game of the season last year was your favorite?
It's hard to pick one because these two blend together, but this week when we played San Antonio and Louisville City, San Antonio was a good one, just knowing the caliber of team they were, and that was my first shutout in the league. So that one was big, but also the Lip FC at home beating Lou City was, anytime you get to host the Barrel that's a good one.
Yeah, the videos and pictures from that night are amazing. I mean, those are the two teams that were in the final. San Antonio won it all. It's not a bad team to keep your first clean sheet against. Not bad at all. This one is from Shelby. She said, this is kind of more of a request, it sounds like to me, but she said, can we leave the jorts in 2022?
No. Exclusively wearing jorts this year. So sorry, Shelbs.
Even in Indy in like January and February?
Always. Cold's not a real thing, Ian.
Okay, fair. Soccer Indy 11 said that the wedding should be at the mic, but I don't know how that might go down.
Might be a little cold in January. We'll talk with Ursal and IUPUI on that one.
Okay, we'll see what they say. See if we can work it out. John Wood too. I don't know if these next two. I think is that a friend? Okay.
Yeah.
He said, "Are you related to Justin Timberlake?"
I am not. He's also the only one that has ever told me I look like Justin Timberlake.
I can kind of see it. Not gonna lie, a little bit. Especially if you have the earrings in, I think, then it's even more. And then Billy Hunter, is that a friend as well?
Yes.
Okay, he said, I feel like this might have been a conversation between the two of you at some point. How many chickens would it take to kill a lion?
How many We've never had that conversation.
Okay,
but
so that's just out of the blue.
Out of the blue, also something that is going to be on my mind probably forever now. How many chickens to kill a lion?
Well, so inside the dressing room in the clubhouse last year, you guys would have the conversation about what's the biggest and baddest animal you could beat
with your bare
hand combat. Yeah.
How many chickens to defeat a lion? I'm going to say, I bet 100 chickens could take down a lion.
I think that's got to be the floor. It's got to be like at least 100. I feel like triple digits. So what was your answer when you and all the guys were talking about what's the biggest and baddest animal you could take on?
I said
and beat.
I think I said a fox, like a full-grown fox. That's fair. I think I could do that. It wouldn't be a clean fight, but
nope.
Someone said like emu, and I don't think I could take down an emu.
Robbie Dambrot said ostrich. the 9-foot, 10-foot tall birds.
Yeah, I would not want to get in the ring with an ostrich.
No, that would be too tough. I think we eventually talked him out of it and showed him videos of ostriches and the fact that they kick you and you're pretty much dead.
That might have been the best
said,
conversation we had in the locker room last year.
It was one of the better ones I got to hear too. Billy said 300 chickens. Someone else said 1,000. So, well, if it's at least 100, then you're right, and everybody else is right too.
I'll take that.
All right. That's all the ones that were sent in. Anything else you want to get off your chest or out into the world, Tim?
No, just I'm excited to get back to Indy. It's been too long, and I'm very excited for this season.
Yeah. Well, it comes up pretty quick here, 2 weeks, and we start preseason. So looking forward to seeing you again, buddy, and thanks for hopping on tonight.
No problem. Thanks for having me, Ian.
Yeah, no problem. All right, everybody. We'll see you next week. Another Tuesday, another 11 Live. See ya.